Hi, and welcome back to Chapter 5. We're going to go over Boolean values right now. First off, it starts by saying in the book the types that we actually been using Boolean values. We have, going to 6, we've been using Boolean conditions. And Boolean, if you've read, is true or false. So if we see here, and we're going to just jump right into the coding and program that we can set bool Fred, and we declared our variable, which we have a data type bool, which means it's going to be true or false, and we have a variable named Fred. So we do our assignment statement here. Fred equals true, and for giggles, the book shows that we have a Boolean. It's all in one. Boolean test results equals false. So let's jump down into the program that they have in the book. We have the bool value of even flag equals, and we have a condition right here where we have the remainder equals 0. So we talked about that in earlier sense and said if we have a remainder equals 0, that means the number is even. And what we have, and I changed up a little bit right here, instead of an X I have an N. The Boolean positive flag equals n greater than 0. So this is true if n is positive. So what we have right here, these right here are Boolean conditions. So if n is equal to something, which means that it's either going to be true or false, or if n is greater than, less than, or if something is something, if it's true or if it's false, that's a Boolean condition. Now, um, we needed to add on to the next that we have. We're using our loops, and we have the if loop right here. If even flag, so that means right here already we know that if it's true, then we're going to do this. Now, if it's not going to be this, we're going to do something else. So we're saying if even flag is true, then we're going to have an output of n was even when I checked it. Else is going to say, and this is just the else inside your book, it doesn't have an else. I wanted to add that anyway. It says else is going to say n was not even when I checked it. So let's create an int value of what the variable n is equal to 2. So we already know that our output should be, so let's go ahead and run it. We'll say this is section 5-5.cpp. Alright, and yes, n was even when I checked it. Now let's put n is equal to 3, and we know it's going to be negative, excuse me, and not excuse me, it's going to be odd. And then we're going to see that it should go down here. So let's compile it again. Let's run it. N was not even when I checked it. Okay, so that's what we get from right there. So if that should be very understandable. Now, in section 5.7, it talks about logical operators. Now, this can be tricky, but if you get a good understanding, and especially if you was one of those persons that was good in science, I remember this back in science when they was talking about the dominant trait, and I can't think of what other trait. Basically, which trait would be dominant in between two different people. So what we see here is our logical expressions, the and, which is two ampersands, the or, which this right here is by, if you see where you do your double and single quotes, to the right of that you press shift, and that you see that little straight line, you have two of those, and the not, which is the exclamation point. Now in here I've only really going to go over the and and the or, the not. If you understand the and and the or, the not is very simple. It's just not that, or not true, not false. Um, so it's the opposite of what we will have. So in the condition one, or within the and we say both conditions have to be true. So this means condition one has to be true and condition two has to be true in order for the program to be true, or in when we're using the if, the first thing will actually do something. Now as we see here, we go down, condition one is true, condition false, condition two is false, it's false. And in a sense where it says the first one, if condition one is false, it automatically is false. It does not look at condition two, only because you have to have both of them true in order to work. So it doesn't need to look at it because it's automatically false. And it's the same thing if both of them false. If the first one is false, it does not check the second condition because it will be automatically false. Now we'll go down to the or, and this is where either condition can be true. So we look at it, if condition one is true or condition two is true, then it's true. And in this case, if condition one is true, it does not check the second condition because either or can be true, so it is true. Same thing if the condition one is true and condition two is false, it is automatically true because it looks at the first one and says, okay, it's true, and it's automatically true. Now when the first condition is false, it has to look and check on the second one to see if it's true, and if the second one is true, it's true, and if this both condition one and condition two are false, then it is false. So you see a correlation where you have in the and only one is true because both of them have to be true, the rest of them are false, and in the or three are true and one is false because you have a comparison of having either or. Now the example we have right here is the and. If condition one and condition two is true, then we're going to do something. Now if it's either one of these other ones, it's going to do something else. So it's very simple like that. So let's look at a coding for it, and this will be the last coding. I think this will be one of the shortest videos that we'll go over. However, we do need to go over it because it is very important for future codings. So we look at here, we have a simple coding. We say if x, and we'll start right here, looking at it right here, if x is greater than or equal to 0. So we just discovered this in the past that x, if we have greater than or equal to, if we have this equal to sign right here, that means we're going to include whatever is behind it right here. And let's see, so x is greater than or equal to 0, and so that means this side has to be true and this side has to be true. X is less than 10, not including 10, but it's less than 10. Then if this is true, we're going to do this. If not, this statement is false. Okay, so let's say run and compile it. And before we do that, we have to make sure we have x. So I already put that up there. int x equals, and let's say a number. We're going to start off with one number. Let's say 0. Let's do this, run it several times. And we can say section, this is actually in 5.8 or 5-8.cpp. You can't see it right there. Section 5-8.cpp. We're going to save it. It's going to compile it, and it's going to run it. So if it's 0, that means this is true, and 0 is also less than 10, then it's true. So our condition statement is true. So let's try another one. Let's try 10. So we already know what it should be equal out to, or our output should be. This statement is false because it is not including 10. It's up until 10. Okay. So let's try one more. Let's go over and see what we have here. It's false, and let's go under, as in a -11. Run it and see. And it's false again. Let's try one more. Let's go inside and do 5. Alright, and this should be true. So you see how the Boolean functions work, or excuse me, this is not this is actually not section 5.8, it's 5.7. 5.8 is just using the functions and returning either a true or false, which you can do on your own. This is section 5.7. This is still talking about the logical operators, and we're using a condition to go with it. And if you have any trouble or have any questions, feel free to email me, or you can go into the collaborations under questions and answers. I have actually subscribed to it, so as soon as it come up, it'll send me an email. The quickest way, however, is actually just go ahead and then send me an email, and I can respond directly to you, because if you do not have a Talladega email address and you send it through the question and answer and I receive it in email, you will not actually be able to see the response to that. So I suggest you just send me an email. Again, thank you for watching. I will see you on the next videos in the next chapter. Thank you.